Great. Well, thank you for coming and thanks for having me at your school. My name is Rachel and I am a recruitment officer for the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering at the University of Toronto. So let's just start with a show of hands. Who has heard a presentation by one of my colleagues about U of T in general? Some of you? Excellent. Okay. So some of you are familiar with the University of Toronto? All right, so tonight we will get some details about the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering. The University of Toronto was founded in 1827, and what that means for you as a future student is that you'll have 191 years of innovation behind your studies and your degree, or I guess by the time you get there it'll be 192. University of Toronto engineering graduates are in the top 13 for employability in the world. So what that means is when you graduate, no matter where you go to work as an engineer, your degree will be highly recognized by employers and they will know the quality of education that you received. For the past 3 years now, our first year class has been made up of 40% women. This is the highest proportion of women in an engineering faculty in Ontario, and it's something we are proud of and care about. We also have 100 different countries represented by our student body. So we have students coming from all over the world, as well as here in Ontario to study engineering with us. Perhaps the most important number on this screen is our 95% success rate. This means that 95% of students who begin first year engineering studies will move on successfully to second year. So you might be thinking, well, what about the other 5%? I don't want to be one of those. And that's normal to think that right now. And of course, there are always going to be students who change their mind and go on to study something else in second year. But what this 95% shows us is that the vast majority of students complete first year successfully and then go on to their upper years in engineering. And that's due to a few different things. It's the academic excellence that you bring to U of T engineering. It's the excellence in teaching that your professors bring. And it's also the support services that you will find on our campus. So all of these numbers, they come together to make U of T Engineering the top engineering faculty in Canada across the major global rankings. This is a ranking that U of T Engineering is constantly striving to continue every year. So it's not some award we got once, it's something that we want year after year. We want to provide you with the best engineering education that you can find here. So who has visited Toronto? Great. So it's not too far from here. So hopefully some of you have had a chance to see Toronto. You will be studying, if you choose U of T Engineering, in the heart of Toronto, which is a world-class city. For engineering students in particular, it can be beneficial to be right in the heart of the technology district, the financial district, the healthcare district. All of the industries that you might want to one day work in, you will find right outside of campus in downtown Toronto. It's also a great place to have fun when you're not in the classroom. So you've probably heard that engineering students spend a lot of time in class, and that is true. You need to work hard, but you're also going to need to take a break, and there's no better place to do that than in the middle of Toronto. So whether you like sports, arts, culture, food, you will find the best of what's available right outside campus. When you join the University of Toronto community, you're joining a very large community. So you might have heard that U of T is Canada's largest university. This is true. This means that you have access to hundreds and hundreds of clubs, a very large library system, and engineering students do indeed need to use the library sometimes. Many different services, and also a very large community of alumni who are ready to engage with students. That being said, joining the engineering faculty also means you're joining a small community. We have 5,500 students in undergrad, so that means about 1,200 students in your year. And engineering is a close-knit community because it is small. We have just under 100 engineering-specific clubs, and that means clubs and teams for engineering students. So it may have to do with engineering and science specifically. For example, you could join a design team that builds a solar-powered car, or you could work on a concrete canoe that actually floats and that you would race against other engineering schools. But we also have clubs and teams that don't have to do with engineering and science, that are just for fun and to get extracurricular experience. So there are choirs, bands, intramural sports teams, anything that you might want to do when you're outside of the classroom, you'll find it in our community. We also have a strong alumni community. They have a new platform, it's called Connect, and this is where alumni can reach out to current students to see how they can help you. So if there's a career in engineering that you're wondering about, chances are there's an alumni who could tell you about it. So that's just another opportunity you can take advantage of right from first year. So let's get into the academics. We have 10 programs, 9 minors, and 10 certificates to customize your degree. There are over 160 study abroad opportunities, and we have our signature professional experience year co-op program. So when you apply, you will have 3 options on the application. You'll see the Core 8 programs, Track 1 Undeclared Engineering, or Engineering Science. These are the Core 8. Chemical, civil, computer, electrical, industrial, materials, mechanical, and mineral. If you know that you would like to do one of these, you can apply directly to this program and start it in first year. If you're not sure which one to apply to, but you do want to do one of those, you can apply for Track 1. This is our undeclared first year engineering program. It is comprehensive but general, so it prepares you equally for all of the Core 8. And then at the end of first year, you are guaranteed entry into your top choice of Core 8 programs, provided you are in good academic standing. So you do not have to reapply, and it doesn't take any more time. You will join your peers in year 2 of the program that you chose. Now here's where I'll rewind a bit. Within the Core 8 programs, once you choose, you will then be able, in your upper years, to specialize in an area that might be of interest to you. So for example, if you chose chemical, you might go into biomolecular and biomedical engineering. Those are the courses you can choose in your upper years. Or in civil, you could choose building science or structural engineering. And there are examples for each program that you might choose. And you'll find these in the book between pages 18 and 26. So no need to remember what's up here. So those are our Core 8 programs with the Track 1 option. The third option for applying is engineering science. So engineering science is a unique, academically challenging program for students interested in the theoretical background of engineering. It functions a little differently than our other programs. You will do 2 foundation years where you will take in-depth theoretical and academically challenging engineering courses. And then in years 3 and 4, you will choose one of 8 majors of your choice. Then, to customize your degree to your specific interests, you can choose a minor or a certificate. Minors are 6 courses, and certificates are 3. So one gives you a bit more of an in-depth look at a subject. These are specific to engineering. If there's something that you don't see that you're interested in, you also have access to all of the minors in the Faculty of Arts and Science. So the Faculty of Arts and Science is the university's largest faculty, and it comprises most programs. And you can do a minor from that. So if there's a language that you'd like to minor in, you'll find it there. You could minor in political science, or history, or literature. Anything in the Faculty of Arts and Science you'll also have access to as a minor. So no matter which program you're in, the Core 8, or if you go into Track 1 at first, or engineering science, you will graduate with a Bachelor of Applied Science. For engineering science, it's a Bachelor of Applied Science in engineering science, specifically. This is the same thing as a Bachelor of Engineering. Older schools, of which U of T is of course one, tend to use the term applied science, and newer schools use engineering. They're the same thing, and they lead to you being licensed as a professional engineer. In all of our programs, we have a focus on design, and those courses will start in first year. In the first semester, you will work in groups to solve a problem. Everybody in the class will have the same problem, but you'll all come up with different solutions. And then in second semester, each group is hired by a real client in the Toronto community who has a real problem that they want solved for their organization or their community, and you will work to come up with a solution to their project. So this could be anything from safer bike lanes in a city to retrofitting a building to serve its purpose better. There are many different projects, and it's like what working as an engineer would be. As you go up in years, your design projects simply get more sophisticated. In addition to design, there's also a focus on entrepreneurship and leadership. If you're interested in leadership, and we hope you are, because we believe that not only are engineers very technically competent, they're also leaders in society. So we have the Troost Institute for Leadership Education in Engineering, and this is an institute that provides you with co-curricular leadership opportunities. So you can develop those skills that you'll need in addition to the math and science to be the best engineer that you can be. In terms of entrepreneurship, if you have an idea that you would like to turn into a business, we have a startup incubator. It's called the Entrepreneurship Hatchery. It can help you with that. So we've had many successful companies come out of the hatchery. So if you don't want to find a job when you graduate and you just want to make your own company, the hatchery can help you do that. If you come visit us on campus, you'll be able to see our brand new building. It just opened for use for students. It's called the Myhall Center for Engineering, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship. So all of these leadership opportunities, these entrepreneurship opportunities, they're now housed in one place. So it's basically the hub for you to spend time in on campus. It also is equipped with technology-enhanced active learning classrooms. So these are not the typical lecture theater where, you know, the professor talks at the front, kind of like I'm doing now. They are designed so that students can actively participate in the lecture. They're also really cool. Basically, they have screens everywhere. So if you're going to visit us on campus, make sure you stop into the My Hall Center. Who might like to get some work experience during their degree? Hands? Some of you? Great. So that's where our professional experience year co-op comes in. This is a 12 to 16 month consecutive opportunity after the third year for you to work. If you choose to do this, your degree will take 5 years. There's also an option to add on 4 months after second year during the summer. So in total, you could graduate with 20 months of work experience in your degree. All of these opportunities are paid. The average salary is about 50,000 Canadian for 12 months. And we have over 325 employers who are looking to hire our students. These are some examples of our recent employers for our professional experience year co-op. So you'll see we have tech companies, there's a hospital, a mining company, banks, car companies, any industry you might want to work in, you will find that they advertise to engineering students. I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation that U of T Engineering has a 95% success rate of students who move from first to second year. And part of the reason is the support services that you'll find on campus. So we have various coordinators to help you. They're wellness and mental health counselors, learning strategists, an international transition counselor. And then we have the first year office. This is like your guidance counselor here, and they help you get used to first year university. You can go to them with anything. We have the Engineering Career Center, and not only do they facilitate the professional experience year co-op, but they can also help with resume writing and interview preparation. We have an engineering communication program. So this center helps you with any part of a school assignment that has to do with communication, so like writing or doing a presentation. And then for all that calculus that you're going to be doing, we have the math aid office. Would anybody be interested in living in residence? Great. Yeah, we're far enough away from campus that there's a big interest. So residence is guaranteed for all first-year students, provided that you apply by March 31st in your application year, so lots of time, and that you receive and accept an offer by June 3rd. So you have to follow those 2 steps, and then you are guaranteed a room in residence. Many engineering students live in a residence called Chestnut, or 89 Chestnut. And that's where these pictures are from. Because so many engineering students live there, we have dedicated programming for engineering students. All right, so now here's what you all came for, right? The admissions information. So the first step in applying to U of T Engineering is to use the Ontario University Application Centre website and to indicate that you'd like to apply to the University of Toronto Engineering. The deadline to do this is January 16th, but we would recommend that you do it by December 1st. After that, you will log into the engineering applicant portal. This is where you tell us everything we need to know. So this is due by February 1st, but we recommend that you finish it by December 18th if you can. The first thing you will do is you will rank your programs. So we give you 4 engineering choices automatically. Everybody has 4. And you put them in order of preference because you will only get 1 offer. If you would like to do engineering science, it needs to be first. If you would like to do track 1 undeclared, it also needs to be first, unless you want to do both of those, and then it can go engineering, science, and then track 1. For the core 8, you can put them in any order that you would like. You'll then tell us about your educational timeline. So tell us the schools that you've been to for high school. You will fill out the academic profile if part of your schooling was done somewhere other than an Ontario high school. You don't need to tell us about your grades or courses from this school because your school will do that for us. But anything before this school in high school, then do make sure you're telling us about that. Then everybody needs to outline their extracurricular involvement. This is very important for engineering admissions. We want to know who you are outside the classroom. So you can tell us about anything from sports, arts, culture, volunteering, part-time job, anything that you do, let us know and tell us what you've learned from that activity. So it's not an essay, it's basically filling out a chart, but you do write a few sentences about each activity so that the admissions committee understands what those activities are. Then you indicate whether you'd like to do PEY co-op. So it's just a yes or no. It does not make your application any more competitive. We would just like to know whether you want to do it, and you will have the opportunity to change your mind. So just give it some thought and tell us what you think is likely so that we know and so that you can start preparing early on in your degree. Lastly, you're going to do the personal profile. This is a timed activity. So when you sit down to do it, that is the one opportunity to do it. You can practice in advance, though, on a different website. It takes about half an hour of uninterrupted time, and you will be asked to answer 3 questions. 2 of the questions you will answer by video. They're 2 and 3 minutes each, and so basically you'll film your response, just like I'm being filmed now, except it won't be live. Nobody's watching. They'll watch it later. The 3rd question is a 10-minute written response. These are questions that you might find in an interview. So you might be asked to explain why you want to study engineering. One of the questions will also be a problem-solving question. So you don't need a calculator. It's not going to be math-based, but you will be asked to describe how you would solve a problem. Here are the prerequisites for all of our engineering programs. We are looking for English, physics, chemistry, calculus, and advanced functions. You'll see that we're looking for one other 12U or M course. That last one, we don't use in admission calculations, but it may be used for scholarships, so it's still good if you are performing well in it. But really, we're looking at our 5 prerequisites. Admission averages are based on the first attempts of these courses. So if you do retake a course, we're going to look at the first time that you took it. Now, has anyone been studying here in Canada for less than 4 years by the end of grade 12? Yeah. So if that's the case, then you'll also need to provide us with proof of English facility. And if you have questions about the tests, I can answer them at the end based on which tests you are planning to take. But if English is not your first language and you've been studying for less than 4 years here, then you'll be asked for that. Lastly, go into scholarships and finances. So you tell us a lot about yourself on the application, right? Tell us all about your extracurriculars, you answer some questions. So because of that, scholarships will be assessed automatically. You do not need to apply separately for scholarships. You will find out if you received one with your offer of admission. The exception to that are the two that are listed here. The U of T National Scholarship, so this is if you are a Canadian or permanent resident here. And then there's the Lester B. Pearson Scholarship. This is for international students, and that includes international students who are studying in Canada on a study permit. So if that's you, you can apply to the second one. If you want more information about those two scholarships, make sure that you check them out online very soon, and you can also talk to your guidance counselor about them. But for the most part, scholarships will be assessed automatically, and there's nothing extra that you need to do. And with that, I'll take your questions.